and welcome to the B Stream. I'm Alex Machine Richardson, joined by Jason Kaplan, and we're going to be guiding you through the first two games of today in Group B. We're going to be covering Group D as well with other talent, but first of all, we just have to sit back and just say that this is it. This is the debut of the biggest major to date, the Lanxess Arena, close to sold out, and we get to be a part of it, Jason.
Dude, there's so many hyped storylines coming into this too. So many great teams. We've had, like teams like NIP be on the downward spiral over the past couple of months, looking to really get back in big to this. Talked to Natu before, says there's a really feeling confident. We have so many great teams across the board. We have even eBettle coming in with Hyper off the back of the 57 kills, I believe it was, on train against Titan to qualify. So many great teams, and it all ends, like you said, in the Lanxess Arena in front of the thousands of people there and the thousands, if not millions of people at home.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. The fact that there's currently over 200,000 people just waiting for the stream to start.
Yeah.
Like this game has done nothing but grow, and it's so cool to see as both the arenas start selling out, but also the viewership starts to increase as well. So it's so cool that we can sit in these seats and bring you guys those games. Talking of games we're going to be bringing you, there are of course 16 teams that are going to be battling it out to get to that grand final, and of course just 2 of them will manage to sit in those seats on that main stage for the grand final.
I mean, you were there last major at Katowice. You were there like in the crowd, looking at the stage, everyone around you. The electricity was ridiculous.
Dude,
it's going to be insane. It really is. And you were saying to me before we came on air that the average travel distance to the event was 200 kilometers.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, we're basically bringing CSGO players, CSGO fans, everybody that loves this game or has a passion for esports, all into one place, and they're going to be in that Lanxess Arena as well as watching at home as well. Both equal, I feel, you know, it's so good to just see people ready and embracing it. I saw so many tweets like, book the day off work, cup of tea ready, I'm ready for my 8 hours of CS. Like, these guys are just ready to embrace this game. And I mean, we've got, like we mentioned, 16 teams. Let's just throw that overview on for that, you guys, to see those 4 groups, and you can see what's going to be going on across this 4-day period. I mean, before we kind of go into the ones we're going to be covering, Jason, why don't you walk us through both Group A and C?
Yeah, like you said, those will be on the A stream at twitch.tv/ESL_CSGO. And we have Ninjas Pajamas, Team Solo Mid, Renegades, and Counter Logic Gaming in Group A. That is going to be insane to see who gets through. Renegades, we had them in our own offices over the past week, and they've been boot camping like hell, and they've had some really good results. Yeah,
and CLG as well, the other underdogs coming in from the North American scene. We've seen them look pretty actually in shape over at Intel Extreme Masters. They've been putting work in, and it's good to see. I mean, they were posting good results, 16-14 against TSM. They're so close yet so far, and actually, you know, talking to them, they were very much saying a loss is a loss, so they were not in a good mindset.
I mean, we have to keep this in mind, though. During Pro League, they did beat Fnatic on Mirage. They anti-stride the hell out of them, and Cutler, the in-game leader for the team, has been doing a phenomenal job. But I think the real thing you have to look forward to is that NIP and TSM both have had really shoddy results lately. TSM, you know, Intel Extreme Masters at 8 p.m. NIP have been so quiet. They've been out of the scene, basically, for the past month or two, not playing in anything, and they're coming to this big.
Yeah, they're coming into this one with a kind of a retribution aspect to their play. I mean, we were talking to Natu and everything. It's good to hear that they feel confident, which is a real good sign considering how they can be a very confidence-based team. Moving on, though, to Group C, the other one that's going to be going over on the A stream. We have Fnatic, the defending champions, 2 majors under their belt, alongside a real stacked group. I mean, Navi, Titan, and eBettle, the team that managed to walk through the offline qualifiers without losing a game. Hellraisers and Titan both falling. Pretty insane to see them here. I mean, that was probably the biggest surprise.
I mean, and the thing is, during the European offline qualifiers, we finally got to see Titan in their new form. You know, with Shocks and Smiths on the team, with Kenny S and Apex gone, we finally got to see what they could bring to the table, and honestly, it was nice to see. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't lackluster, it wasn't amazing, but there was hints at like extraordinary play out of them, and we're finally gonna be able to see if they can kind of match up to that. eBettle, we pointed out Hyper. I mean, in an interview with HLTV, eBettle was talking about how anyone on the team can really carry like he did, but we can't underestimate Hyper and the 50-something frags he dropped against Titan to get them here. Like, that was ridiculous. Like, they're basically like the #3 Polish team behind formerly Gamers 2 and Virtus Pro, so their team to definitely look out for. But Navi and Fnatic, I mean, how do you get past one of those powerhouses?
Don't get me started on Navi. I mean, I am a proud owner of a Navi shirt. Like, these guys, they're a team that have always kind of been present at majors, always been kind of battling to kind of get to that top 4 spots. It's more successful than others sometimes, but you've seen that they've been boot camping. We've seen that they've been posting really good results as of late, and it's going to come down to how well can they stabilize in this major.
And then you got Fnatic. 2-time major winners, the team to beat, hands down. I think every team would say they've been quiet as well recently. They haven't really been boot camping. You saw Olaf Meister, I think it was Flusha, doing FPL, doing a lot of the FACEIT Pro League, playing with people like Taz and others out there. But they're still a strong team. Like, they're never a team you can doubt to go big at a major.
I mean, for sure. And actually, that's something that someone said a lot about Fnatic, is that they are one of the few teams that have been kind of keeping it chill. Yeah. They haven't been grinding it out. And there's an element of fatigue that you have to consider as well, where these guys, they play for 10 days straight, 8 hours a day. They turn to the major and they're like, whew, okay, we actually keep playing. There's a lot of CS to be played. And
you look at Na'Vi. That's the perfect situation to describe them, because they played for the last 10 days boot camping, and they had to stop the last couple of days because frustrations were getting so damn high in the team. They didn't want to come to the major with a negative attitude, so they took a couple of days off to really get their mind ready for this. Yeah, and now let's address what we will be covering, Jason. Groups B and D will be over here on this stream. Spread the word, folks, as there's going to be some fantastic games today. Group B is the first we will be covering. Envy versus Flipside is going to be a fantastic debut. I mean, you look at EnVyUS, coming off the back of a victory over at the Intel Extreme Masters, looking in good shape considering that recent roster swap, and you have to kind of consider whether that or not that was the honeymoon period everyone kind of addresses with roster swaps, or that was just good, solid form from the French shuffle. And we talked to the team before the event. We talked to them about the whole team and how they're kind of, their mindset coming into that tournament, and we didn't want to say it during the time because we didn't want to give anything away, but they played that one as hard as they could. Like, they went into that one full serious, like it's a major for them. They want to see how good they are because they had teams like TSM to really match up to. They want to see how they could perform, and well, they took 3 lives straight off TSM, so in a best of 5 they won, and that's good signs for them. Yeah, fantastic signs, and of course their opponents, Flipside Tactics. A team that's kind of done well. Markelov every major, still looking to kind of get that result that he's been so hungering for. A team that has kind of had mixed bag of results, but that Simple factor is no longer. You know, they've always come to majors with Simple being, you know, taken off the roster because of course, his ESL ban. Now, though, he's out of the roster. He is not present. They have Davkos as a full-time member for now, and it's going to be intriguing to see if that dynamic has any effect on their results. Yeah, it's kind of like the Simple stain, I want to call it, for them, because it's always been like, oh, well, you guys haven't been able to perform without that man on your team. You haven't been able to win big tournaments without him. But you know what? Davkos, who came in for the qualifiers, who played last time for Katowice in the qualifiers and the event, he did a fantastic job just a few weeks ago. He's a really strong opera on the CT side, and if he can show up big, he can definitely give EnVyUS a run for their money. But it comes down to the whole, how's the team feeling, or the whole bootcamp situation. Do they feel prepared to go up against EnVyUS, who's one of the favored top 4 of this entire tournament? Yeah, for sure. I think that's actually a point that Markelov made in an interview. He's like, I'm so frustrated with this kind of, this mindset that we need Simple to win. We've made every kind of, you know, these qualifiers. We've done these qualifiers without him every time. So that's something that they're glad to kind of shake off. And I like how you put out Markelov too, because this man, I mean, he does not give up at all. Yeah. He's played in every single major so far, whether it's the Stone of Dragons, Hellraisers, or now Flipside. He has that drive to win. He hasn't been able to break through, but I think finally this might be the opportunity to. And of course, we still have the other game coming up after that. It's going to be Kinguin up against Luminosity. And Machine, I've had a lot of rumblings, or heard a lot of rumblings about Luminosity. They are an amazing team. Yeah. Recently beating everyone, and they're actually like one of the teams to beat according to what we've heard through boot camps. Yeah, we've heard that, you know, you may have to take some of that with a pinch of salt, because some treat pracs with like different mindsets. Some say, okay, let's try everything we possibly can. But I mean, you have to admit that this is a team that has got such drive. You see every interview, whenever they've kind of come off the back of a loss and not done as well as they have. I mean, every time they're in an interview when they're not top 4, you can just see it in their eyes that that's not where they plan to be. These are a team that strive to be the best, and I think they've had the opportunity now to really prepare with this time in North America. This is basically their opportunity, and the people standing in their way are pretty terrifying as well. Kinguin, this kind of all-star mashup that's actually found a lot of kind of pace and synergy as of late with the loss of Huiten and addition of Dennis. And we've talked about Kinguin as being, you know, the team made for the major. Like the team assembled for this kind of situation. You have big names like Michael A. Fox as well, which we'll get into a little bit later on when we get to that game. A real stand-up player for his team, even though it's quietly done. They're a strong team. And then, you know, one thing on Luminosity really quickly is the fact that their big advantage in the last major was the fact that they were unknown. The fact that no teams really knew how they played. But now they're in North America. Now everyone's been able to see how they played throughout the ESL, ESA Pro League, through other tournaments as well. Like, their whole gig is up. Every team knows how they're going to play, and yet they're still performing really well. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that game unfolds. But we should start to address what we're going to be bringing you first of all. EnVyUS versus Flipside. And before we start talking about the French wonders, let's have a little look at what EnVyUS have to offer.
Katowice fourth was pretty disappointing. We've had a very good run before the tournament. We were winning several events. We had very good results against every single team and could have done better, but top 4 is still decent. The IM tournament for us was 100% a preparation tournament. It motivated us even more after the tournament for bootcamping here. And now our preparation is complete. We're ready for the major. We gave ourselves the opportunity to work on what we need to work on. And we've been playing countless hours every day. We're looking for a final, nothing less.
EnVy just getting ready. Apex looking chill as ever, as these guys have got big smiles on their faces. It was good to talk to them and as well, and seeing that they are in a positive mindset going into this first game here at MMC. The TV studios for the first 2 days, happy looking, a little fatigued maybe. That was a cheeky yawn. I think we all caught that one. And of course you can see Keo and Kenny again, all just, it's all laughter and all smiles so far going into this one. They have an opponent though, Jason, and I think we also need to look a little bit at what Flipside are going to be bringing to the table as well.
We had 2 weeks of preparation, and it was pretty good. So I think we can beat anyone. I think our group is pretty hard. I mean, we have EnVyUS in our group, new roster, they have pretty good motivation, as we think. I think that the biggest motivation for us is our dreams. So it's our dream to go to top 8 teams in the world. Yeah, sure, we have some special tactics, new tactics for any map, so we are ready. Yeah, I think we are ready to fight with everyone.
And that was Flipside, Jason. A team that going into this one are no doubt the underdogs. But, I mean, what are their chances looking like?
Anything's possible at a major. I mean, we don't want to say that every team has a chance to win. I'm sure there's people out there who have their favorites in their matchups, that have their favorites to win the entire tournament. But, you know, in honesty, it really is any team can win if any team shows up at that given point. You know, you heard Blade talking about how they have the dream, they have the drive for this. And, you know, some teams, they get complacent at the top. You know, they're kind of like, all right, well, we don't really need to work out or, you know, worry about other teams coming up in too much. Maybe NIP is a good kind of example of that, where they're on the top for so long. You know, they finally got overthrown. They've been struggling to get really back into the things. But as long as you have that drive, as long as you're all focused on that same goal, nothing can stop you. And, you know, on the back of an experienced player like Markelov, I remember actually here for the European offline qualifiers, and Demon, myself, I think even you were there watching him playing 1.6 with Navi. I can't remember the team he was up against at the time. I think it was old Virtus Pro back when they were frag executioners. He's been around for so long. He has a drive. I mean, if he wouldn't be here still if he did not have it. He has the knowledge. He has the aim. But they need to step up together as a team. You know, they want to wipe Simple off the map as being, you know, now no longer a stain on their team. Davkos trying to be the man to help do that. Blade trying to be that puppet master behind the team. But for me, it's all about kind of world edit. He really struggled when he was in the European offline qualifiers. He's that T-side op for their team. They had such a tough time really making plays happen. The map I'm thinking of is Mirage against Dignitas, where they did knock Dignitas completely out of the entire tournament, winning that last slot from Europe. And he really struggled. I mean, that's maybe a little bit due to the fact that AZ had a phenomenal game, but he had to step up because Davkos was unstoppable on the op. That close-range opping, which is really difficult to do. It's high-pressure, high-intensity situation. He pulled off flawlessly. If he has games like that, again, against EnVyUS, if he can shut down maybe KennyS, maybe Happy, they can have a chance.
I think that Davkos factor cannot go unnoticed as well. I mean, it's been tough for him because he's quite literally been that mercenary. They basically drag him in saying, oh, we can't have Simple, we'd much rather have Simple, but I guess you can play Davkos.
Right.
And that must, I mean, I know personally, if that was the situation I was in, I wouldn't be willing to play my best. There would be no motivation for me because I'm going to get thrown to the wayside as soon as that qualifier or that whatever it is event is over, you know? Now, however, he has that slot. He's kind of proved himself over the course of however long, and he's saying, I deserve this slot.
Even with that in his head, you know, it didn't stop him. He still helped carry his team. Like, he still stood up when the time counted, and now he has this opportunity, I think, as a permanent member within Flipside to really help make their way through and progress through into this. You know, we think back to Katowice in 2015. They finished 13th through 16th, not getting out of groups. It's going to be a difficult one as well in this one with EnVyUS, with Luminosity, with Kingwin all in there. but they can do it. And I think if everyone's playing at their top performance, which you heard Blade saying they're feeling really good, really confident coming into this, they had a great boot camp, they can pull it off. I think it's also come down to a lot of terms of what map's going to be picked between these two teams because, Mirage isn't one of EnVyUS's best maps, but Flipside has a generally good win-loss ratio on it.
What would you anticipate then if we're talking map pool? We're talking, of course, it's a best-of-1 scenario.
Right.
So, I mean, it's very important to get a map that you guys are comfortable on. EnVy's map pool, when you're such a new team, I assume it's relatively shallow.
It's difficult to Apex. It's difficult to kind of look into that, right? Because you have to keep in mind they might have had a weak map pool before this event, but they've had weeks of boot camp. They've had weeks of preparation, right? EnVyUS has been in our offices as well at ESL, playing nonstop every day, trying to improve their map pool, improve their gameplay.
Yeah, and actually I was talking to MBK backstage at IEM, and of course I can't, hint at exactly what that map is. That would be foolish. But he did say to me, he said, we're actually very comfortable on 6 of the 7 maps. So the fact that they can be such a fresh team and have, the majority of those maps down, that to me is interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking over the map statistics for these teams, and Cobblestone for EnVyUS is a little bit light. They played it 8% of the time. They went 10 wins and 8 losses on it, but that could be one of the maps that they're really maybe working towards. With Happy and KennyS able to run that double up setup, and I'll get into that a little bit more in just a few seconds, it can be very daunting on a map like Cobblestone. But I'm imagining both teams don't really want to play Train. They really don't have much experience on it in the past. Mirage is one thing that EnVyUS has not played well on in history, in prior history, where Flipside has really excelled on. So I think it's going to come down to kind of the bans. I think Dust 2 will be. It comes down to Train, Dust 2, Cash, and Mirage. 4 maps they're going to be looking at. I wouldn't be surprised to see all those banned away with Mirage, and I believe Dust 2. No, Mirage and Inferno banned away by EnVyUS. Okay. On the side of Flipside, taking away Mirage or Cash definitely in Train.
So they're not going to be afraid of playing those newer maps. Is that what you're suggesting? Like the cobbles and the overpasses, something that it's got to be said that it's probably going to be a little bit more uncomfortable for them.
Well, we have to keep in mind the whole system of how this runs, right? We haven't explained it just yet. Where each team will ban away 2 maps, and then there's 3 maps left in the pool. Then that's randomized which ones actually picked and played. So if you take away the maps that either A, the other team is really good on, or B, you're not as comfortable on, then you can get a decent map pool with those 3 maps.
So that makes perfect sense in terms of the banning strategy, but also while we're explaining how the veto works, I'd also think we should probably take this time. It does look like the veto is having a few errors. It does look like they're going to be going for a slight break. So I'll just take this time, Jason, very quickly to explain to the guys at home how it's formatted in terms of the shuffle, because there is a new format going into this major, and I want to make sure everyone at home understands what's on the line when for these teams.
So the whole idea of the shuffle is to make it so you can't prepare for every opponent you're going to play against, right? So in this group in particular, basically the 2 winners from the initial matches will be doing Kingwin Luminosity next, and the winner of this match will be playing against each other. The loser of that match, whoever they played against in the first round, will be shuffled out of the group. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, EnVyUS and Luminosity go through to the winner's match.
Okay.
Say EnVyUS beats Luminosity. So since Luminosity played against Kingwin will be shuffled out of the group into another one, and a new team will be coming into that group.
To avoid the rematch.
To avoid the rematch. So there's no possibility that you'll play against that team that you played against before until the grand final. Okay. So it kind of makes it so, and this is what I really like about it, is that you can't come in super prepared. What you come in prepared for, instead of other teams, is yourself and how you're going to play. You play the game you want to do. It kind of makes it so you have to be quick to adapt, in what's happening in the heat of the moment. You can't be a team like CLG and have an anti-strat for Fnatic on Mirage. I mean, you'll know your first matchup. Great, that's what you got. You don't know what map it's going to be on, obviously, but then your second matchup can definitely change, and not to mention your third if you can make it through the loser bracket game. So it's going to be tough. But I like it. I really do, because it rewards teams just for being really aware on what's going on.
And we have received word that the veto has transpired, and the map we're going to be playing is Inferno. We have no further information as to how that veto was taken, but, I mean, Jason, you see now Inferno on paper to determine the winner of this debut game for EnVy versus Flipside. What are your thoughts?
I was expecting Flipside to maybe take Inferno away, just the fact that you have KennyS and you have Happy. We saw them at Intel Extreme Masters Gamescom, how damn strong they could work together. But it's not a bad map for them either. They played it 18% of the time, 11 wins, 19 losses. It's definitely not a bad map for them, but it's going to come down to mostly that CT side, I think, for Flipside. How well is Davkos going to perform with the AWP?
Now, what's interesting is in 2015, these teams have met 3 times. 2 of those times, they were on Inferno. The Star Series, Round Robin Series, and also the Face It League. So they met twice. Those were on Inferno, and it's a 50% both ways. They both have a win under their belt.
Right, and we have to keep in mind, though, that was both games with Simple on Flipside, and we have to keep in mind that's both games with Shocks and Smiths on EnVyUS.
True.
So it's not going to be like a perfect one-to-one translation, but it's a good sign. It shows that each team can beat each other on the map. It's definitely a possibility. But it comes down to how they prepare for this. It comes down to economy game, really important into this. I talked about the double-up potential at EnVyUS, and I mentioned it at Intellectual Masters Gamescom as well. So we see a lot of these top teams now being able to run a double-up setup, but having, most importantly, 2 operators in the team. Your economy might not get stable enough to run a double-up setup, but what it allows you to do is, say kennyS, he woke up this morning, he's not feeling the op, right? He's not feeling confident. What happens is, Happy picks it up, and he'll be able to be the backbone of the team. Or say it's the other way around. Happy's not feeling too great, kennyS feels on point, give kennyS the damn op, and he'll perform extraordinarily. And we're seeing teams like that do that. We see TSM, Cajun and Device. You see Fnatic, Olaf Meister, and JW. There's a lot of these top teams, even Virtus Pro with Pasha, who's kind of sat back from it, given over to Neo. There's so many teams that can do this now, and I think it's becoming really a staple within teams if you want to be a top team to, have your opera always be on point, whether it's, one person or another.
Is it that factor, or alongside that is also being able to have the double, the double trouble in terms of having the double op setup on CT sometimes? You have that flexibility as well.
The thing is about the double op setup, it's just so difficult to break if you get a team that gets comfortable. We talk about, Virtus Plow, the snowball effect, right? Yeah. So once you get the stable economy, once you get set up and going, breaking that's going to come down to a lot of good use out of utility and a lot of great shots. And most teams really struggle to break through that kind of wall. So if you get set up, you get comfortable, especially on a map like Inferno with, with Happy in towards the middle if he wants to run the op, or NBK feeling really comfortable at the B with maybe kennyS there to kind of rotate around. It's going to be really hard to break. And I think it's going to come down to a lot on this knife round and how the teams are going to pull this through.
What's interesting to me about Happy as well is that when we spoke to him in interviews, he actually said that he really likes the synergy that's been found with this new roster. The first question we asked him was like, how are things feeling for you? And his first point was, people are listening to me now. And this is a point I made over at IEM, and I actually kind of want to go back into that while we have the time, is that he was saying that it's actually super important that when he says something, it's completely embraced by the team. There's no second guessing. There's no, I'm going to do my own thing, which I think was present a bit more with Shocks and Smiths. Now, though, you look at the a similar example over on the North American side of things with Cloud9. When Semphis was there, we saw this kind of imbalance where Sean Garrett would make a call and it was questioned. Now, though, you look at what Happy's got with these new Apex and kennyS presences. They listen to everything he says, they hold on to it, and it's intriguing to see how that's affected this team. Not necessarily because of the time they've spent together, but because they are all in this together.
It's really got to be damn frustrating to make a call in game if you're Happy and have your team not listen to it or not, listen to what you want to do. It's like, well, how do you, what's your motivation to lead a team if they won't back you up, if they won't do what you say, if they won't let you do your damn job? And it's cool to see that they're finally, paying attention a little bit more. It's also cool to see that, we've had extensive interviews with kennyS saying, he feels like he doesn't need to drop 30 kills a map to actually win a game. I feel like we, overuse that a little bit, but it's so true because anyone on EnVyUS can step up, and we've seen that in the past. We've seen Kiyoshima go huge. We've seen NBK. We've seen Apex. We've seen Happy. Everyone can do their job, and when you have a team like that, when someone feels comfortable and someone else does, that is the team to beat. That's a top 4 team in the world, and that's a team that can take this major.
Absolutely. They're a team that have got certainly set their sights on that top 4, and we heard from Flipside in that interview that they have the drive. But, how far can drive get you? That's another question. It was actually Bondik who was in the interview there, and he was saying that we all have this passion, we all want it. And, yes, you can want it. Who doesn't want to be sitting on that stage for the grand final in that Lanxess arena? And intriguing to see if, these guys have changed that much. I don't know how much a team can develop in the time frame they've been given. And, we've seen stranger things before. That we've had these teams come in looking a bit weak and looking shaky, but then somehow getting to that final every single time. NIP, for example, they drop all of those maps and still get to the grand final every single time. It's insane.
And can they do it again? It's a question for them. Can any team get there and maybe knock them out? A top 2 finish every single major. That's $50,000 every single time. There's the map leader for you guys. Mirage Overpass, kind of what we expected. Cash and Dust 2, definitely on a flip side. You take Cash away from EnVyUS every single time. Unless you're Cloud9, you want to play them on it. And Dust 2, that is one of Flipside's worst maps out there. So it looks like we will have EnVyUS on the CT side.
And here we go then. We're going to be jumping on into the action, I believe. So let's head on into game and see how this is going to shape up. On the left-hand side of your screens, on the CT side will be EnVyUS. And on the T side, we have Flipside as we're kicking on in I believe we are into the first round. The 9th round did transpire, and these guys, no?
No, there's no knife round win the major. You actually get to pick your side depending on who picks the first veto
That's
or
the new
whatnot.
veto system. Well, the old veto system, excuse me. So no knife round needed, and we have got them on that CT side. And let's see where this one takes us. Let's look a little bit at the buy as well. 3 body armors, 3 Kevlars for EnVyUS. It looks like there's going to be a little bit of an exchange over towards the apps area. Keo, though, spotting out, not taking any damage, nor doing any just yet, as the health bar's still healthy.
They do. You have MBK with the kit and a smoke is importantly to stop them from rotating back towards B. That's kind of what Inferno is about. You fake out towards one side, you make them waste their utility, then you hit back towards another one, or maybe go back and forth depending on what you want to do. And it looks like the bomb will be going towards B. MBK is waiting. He has Happy on the quick rotate, but Bondic and Roda are trying to go over a little bit of a flank, trying to catch him out off guard.
Let's see how far he can get. He does get the spot, and he's going to be throwing out the smoke straight away. Actually took his time with that one. Wanted to set it up just perfectly, as it does look like the execute is on the way. Still spraying through Happy aimlessly, hoping to make a connection. So far, just Davkos went down.
Yeah, and it pulled Apex and Happy back towards the B side. What's important, they're pushing through over towards Arch.
This is going to be messy, and it is. Apex with 2. Kenny S found the head of World Edit, and it looks like Blade and Markelov have to do something quite special to secure this first round here at the major. Markelov swings around through quad, but he's all alone now as Blade did get eliminated. He's gone. Kenny S with 3, Davkos with 2, and a very comfortable start from Envy.
Smart play out of EnVyUS too, because you had Apex pick up 2 kills towards Arch, and then from that, you had the rest of the team back away in towards Pit, just play one safe, because they realize if they can just hold on, if they can delay, because of how long Flipside took to actually execute on towards a site, they can win the round no matter what. And credit to Kenny to rush straight into the site as well, to kill them before they get the bomb down. That's so important because it limits Flipside economy.
Whoa, and talking of limited economy, I think they've got a good wind of that. 4 SMGs. They're looking to pick up as much money as they possibly can. There's 4 MP7s and a cheeky Nova for Keo, as these boys know that they're going to be very unarmored, very vulnerable Flipside members. As now, it looks like we're going to be seeing, I can only assume, a very slow and steady CT side. They do not want to be caught off by a particular stack, a surprise from the T side, and Keo just gathering intel with the shotgun in hand, and I think this is starting to set up for some sort of A play.
The danger of this is you can go a little bit quicker on a round like this if you want to catch them off guard, pushed up towards middle, trying to get some early peaks with the MP7s. But because they're playing this one really safe, Flipside's going to have such a difficult time of actually taking anyone down. They're having such a hard time of killing anyone, especially when you have Apex and Keo playing towards Pit. And honestly, Flipside with no utility to work with, how are they actually going to execute onto a site unless they get some cheeky kills?
So is it because of the foolish first round or the poor first round from them that they have had to go into this one really, really vulnerable?
Well, I think they want to talk some things over as well, kind of get a feel of how EnVyUS are playing Inferno, kind of check the site, see how they want to react to certain situations. Blade getting dinked down to 14 HP, that's going to be rough for him. But the bomb is still towards A, and they're starting to walk in towards that site. MBK is trying to defend on towards B, but the push is definitely coming towards A.
So yeah, it looks like they are going to be committing towards A, and actually Bondic's the only one to make an impact so far for his team. Charging it in, Apex is lying in wait. Going to be looking to pocket another 600 World Edit, just needs to stay alive with that 1% of health. Finally does walk into his crosshair. Apex doing everything he can, and is going to be finished off by a long-distance Nova from Keo. Doing so in style, 3 for Apex in that round, and that's a solid 2-0 for Envy.
And Envy are playing this one really smart. They're really doing a fantastic job of not over-rotating too quickly. They're really trying to play this one out, relying on their aim, relying on their communication, their synergy of how they set up. And Apex picking up 3 kills, the MP7 has a lot of money. I like what World Edit did, though. You saw him kind of peek out. He knew Apex was there, and he hid behind the pillar, waiting for his teammates to come in from middle to give him some sort of backup and maybe get a cheeky angle on him to kill him and maybe make it a little bit expensive onto their side. But now we're going to the the third round. No guns brought up for Flipside still, just a couple of pistols, and EnVy is still sitting on a lot of these SMGs. 2 MP7s, an M4, a Nova picked up, and a CZ for Apex. They're saving up for that op.
Yeah, and you talked about that just there, talking, saving up for the AWP. But when you've got so many SMG frags early, their economy is going to be stable. And you said the danger is when you have a stable economy, that AWP can just keep rolling. That AWP train can get scary. Happy and Kenny, of course, very proficient with this said weapon, and already it does look like the completely unarmored T side are just desperately going to try and take some weapons, try and hinder that economy as best they can. But just the 1 rifle for Kenny so far.
If anything, they can hope for a plant, maybe, but they still have 3 men to really watch out for that they get in towards site. They're going to overrun Apex in a second, but he has a CZ, might be able to pull off a couple of kills.
He's going to be able to do that. Fortunately, Kenny's there to hold his hand with the M4. A double for him. And Keo, this long-distance shotgun. How far can you get with that one? No need, as Kenny finds a 3. And it looks like it's going to be all wrapped up and put a bow on it by Happy with the MP7. So plenty of money, plenty of pocket change for the French. And they're going to pick up a solid 3-0. Not actually that much of a familiar sight these days. You do always see these kind of relatively successful force buys coming into these early rounds. But fortunately, they managed to keep their foot down on the Flipside economy. And that's a solid 3-0 start.
Yeah, we should be seeing EnVyUS actually buy up in this round.
Wow.
I'm curious why they're still sitting with the Nova. Now, okay, this is what we need to talk about as well as we do hit this gun round. You see davkos with an AWP, almost glass cannon with no head armor. But no respect play is something that we have to talk about a lot. And for a lot of new people out there, they won't really understand what that is. But say, you're like a global elite rank, playing against, some really great players, and you're playing against silvers, right? You're not really going to care too much. You're going to run around doing whatever you want, picking up kills because you're that confident in your play. That's kind of what happens with EnVyUS up against Flipside because they're feeling so damn confident they can run around with a Nova and still pick up rounds.
Heard it here first, folks. Jason just called Flipside silvers.
That's not what I meant. I'm trying to explain.
Cool, man. That's not
no
cool.
Respect play.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
We have the full buy to Flipside. Like, they want to win this round. EnVyUS, I'm really curious why the hell they're not investing so heavily into this round, but they have to feel so confident.
For sure it's a risk, but if they win this round, their economy is going to be insane. As they're already sitting on very comfortable numbers now. Let's see where they choose to go with this. Plenty of utility for the T side, and that has to be remembered as not really overextending. Every round giving relative mid control to that T side as well. That intrigues me.
And yeah, so typically what we'll see is a CT team use a lot of smokes to hold the team from pushing through middle. And because that makes them a little bit light towards A, or they have to invest their smokes towards B, which leaves that one a little bit dangerous. But they're confident in letting kenyus watch towards long, Apex sit in Graveyard, and Kiyoshima towards Pit, that they won't really penetrate this site and actually take it. The bomb, it's moved over towards B. There's 20 seconds left on the clock. They have to pick up this pacer because they're going to have to go through NBK to get this bomb down.
They've made the right call, though. It's just NBK. He's going to have to do something fantastic. The molly does start. davkos is at the front line with the AWP. This is not how it's supposed to go. Fortunately, lands that close quarters shot, as we talked about before. The rotate is on, though. The French don't want to let this site go down too easy, and now Happy on the hunt. Apex has already made an impact, and that's big. Bondic down. Happy holding the angle, and I do feel like the time is going to be of the essence for these two, as davkos is looking comfy with the AWP. He find one, he does onto Apex. It looks like Envy are going to get picked apart here. That 20-second risk that they took is looking to be netting them a reward. Another for davkos. Happy, desperate to find a way into the site, but it's not happening. davkos again and again. That's 4. This very well could be the ace. He's hunting for it. He wants it with the Glock, but Happy dashes those dreams. But still, a win for Flipside.
This is what we just said. MBK, could he have played that differently with an M4 versus an MP7? He can't play long range with it, especially against the buy-up out of Flipside with AKs and an AWP. He has to sit back, let them come to him. And this is what we talked about davkos. He's such a damn good close range opper that if you get in a 1v1 situation right in front of each other, he's going to pick up that kill most of the time.
But I mean, they didn't know that Envy would be making that choice. How on earth?
Of course not. Who would expect it?
How on earth do you send davkos into the site first? I mean, he is the AWP, he's the front liner. That's not right. But still managed to get away with it. 4 frags for him, the newest addition to Flipside, and it's good to see that he has started with a bang. That is what all 4 of his frags so far in this game acquired in just 1 round, and they're going to be taking it slow this time. They're going to run this clock down, leaving that bomb way back towards T steps is evidence of that. Let's see where they choose to take this then. Again, this 3-2 split. One looking flexible. It's going to be Kenny who's going to be that flexible player towards CT, as he is just kind of playing for intel, ready to go if the call is made. Fortunately, NBK has a partner in crime this time.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a generally standard kind of hold with NBK and Happy towards B, Happy towards CT, NBK in the back of side, and kenyus, Apex and Keo over towards the A side, with Apex and Keo doing like a nice little crossfire towards Pit. It's very standard. They're not really adapting because they feel like, well, we don't need to. We lost 1 round. Well, yeah, we didn't really have a full buy-up in that one, so we can't really, be too much or too down on ourselves. But as the game's going to progress on, they're going to have to change some things up, especially if Flipside keep picking up rounds. With 38 seconds to go on the clock, they got to make their move soon. We've seen this out of EnVyUS. They have quite a few smokes and flashes left to work with, so the A side, I think it's not going to be done. There's no real need to go into the site with not a lot of smokes to work with, and knowing they do. But here we go, 25 seconds on the clock. They have to make their move now. The bomb is over towards middle, and they're looking for kills.
This is odd. 20 seconds. I think Flipside have kind of rested on their laurels a little too long. NBK already found one onto davkos, so he's now down. No more 4K for him. As 14 seconds, Kyo's in a prime spot to stop this bomb from going down. It's going to come down to numbers. 10 seconds! They just haven't got time! What are they doing? It's going to be Apex and Kyo picking up a piece. Apex snatches a double as a third comes rattling home, and that was so foolish from Flipside, really kind of letting the clock get ahead of them, and you can see on their faces that was not how they planned to see that one unfold.
What do you expect? Like, when you leave 11 seconds on the clock before you make your way into the site, like, yeah, you're going to get there, but if there's anyone there that kills you, well, the bomb's down. No one's else going to be able to get the bomb and plant it in time. Like, that's ridiculous. They did do something well, though. Flipside, I think it was Bondic, they pushed through towards CT spawn. They smoked off Kenny because they realized he's playing super passive towards Arch. He's actually playing back towards Library or over towards Site, towards Little Pit. So you kind of smoke him off, allow someone to get through there and be that nice little flex kind of roll to pick up a lot of kills on a rotate. But that was a major mistake. I mean, that should not have been left on that long.
A major mistake at a major. There you go, Jason. Let's see what the T-side do with just their pistols. I think Kyo's going to be ripping them apart. He's been playing balcony very comfortably. Reminiscent of Maniac over on Titan. And now it does look like the T-side starting to orientate themselves towards there. They're going to go a bit faster there. They're realizing that the clock was not their friend in the previous round, and they're just going to get shredded, as Davkost is not long for this world as well. And I think Molotov is something that needs to be mentioned more over on Inferno, Jason. It's such a key, integral part of T-side Inferno. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Inferno is all about timings, right? It's all about, waiting as long as you can, make the team not have any utility left, so you can fake out a couple of things. Molotovs, they buy you, quite a few seconds of time, crucial seconds of time when it comes to a team pushing. We haven't seen really Flipside have the stable enough economy to use too many. Like you'll see a team push up towards B, Molotov towards new box, towards back of site to flush them out into an easy position to kill and smoke off CT and kind of execute onto the site. But they haven't been able to get there. EnVyUS are currently leading 5-1. I guess we can kind of say this is what we expected maybe out of this game, but Flipside, it could have been a lot closer with a couple of questionable rounds out of them.
Yeah, Envy are rolling at this point. I mean, they've taken a couple of risks. The only round they lost so far was when they got a little cocky. And again, on the opposite side of things, 3 Galils for Flipside. That is not comfortable, to say the least. Again, with the slow play, though, bomb loose, the CT side just lying in wait.
Yeah, I think they realize that they can't let too many, rounds slip away from them. They can't let this happen, and they have to force this one up. EnVyUS, they don't have the most stable of economy just yet. They have, relatively, good ones so far, but we need to see Flipside finally penetrate one of these sites. They need to finally figure out exactly how to get into it. They figured out a little bit with KennyUS smoking them off towards Library, pushing up towards CT. I think like a 2-3 split towards B would be fantastic for him. Push the men in towards CT spawn and kind of collapse on Happy and MBK. But they don't know exactly where Happy's been playing because he's been so, loose. He's been at B, he's been at A, he's been in Speedway many times that they need to worry about that man as well.
But the setup hasn't changed too much from EnVyUS. That's what's intriguing, is you have Kenny, the same spot, Keo, the same spot. So far, they haven't needed to change it because Flipside cannot break in. This is going to be their attempt, though. 4 players, make it 5, all readying themselves for the push. The waves are going to be stopped by the flashbang. No connections, though, from Apex. Still 5 stand, changed up by the double K combo. Kenny and Keo just going at it, and they're going to keep doing that, 2 apiece. And it's going to be Happy who puts the cherry on top, and the 6th round come home for the French. Flipside, they try endlessly to find an entry into A, and so far, not so good.
Yeah, they finally read into the whole pit control out of Kiyoshima, and were able to smoke him off, as well as Apex, but they didn't really expect Kenny to be, playing that one so damn well from the long side, and to pick up that many kills. Again, it's just like the whole lack of utility, the whole lack of smokes, flashes has been really hindering them and getting into these sites. Again, they're back on the save because they forced last time with P250s. They're hoping to get a couple more rounds on the board because at this rate, EnVyUS are looking so damn strong, and we're finally seeing the op out of KennyUS. This is what I want to see. How confident are Kenny and Happy playing with the op? And we're finally going to find out.
Yeah, of course, it's going to be under threat if the pistols do kind of catch wind of Kenny holding that. He does have his magic stick out. See where they choose to push off this one. Of course, just P250s, their main aim here. We haven't managed to get the bomb down on buys, never mind with pistols, so I can't even say that they're going to be able to, have a chance of getting that bomb down. So far, Envy have held them at a distance, and they're going to be doing the same thing again. Look at this aggressive play from Happy. Is this no respect, or is this just a good understanding of their economy?
I think this is a little bit of both. I think they figured out how Flipside are kind of playing these rounds. We haven't seen EnVyUS be that aggressive over towards B in quite a long time. Happy...
No! He shouldn't be able to do that! He just walked straight on past. Blade was holding the perfect angle to get the drop on him, get a rifle in his hand, and he pulls him apart with the P250. Ooh. Finally, Bondic giving Keo a lesson, but he's going to be put to bed by Kenny.
Yeah, so you were talking about why is Happy pushed up that aggressive. We see a lot of teams like, NIP and Dinatos, I can think of off the top of my head. They get really aggressive towards B. They commit a lot of smokes in towards that banana area, especially from A, to get that early control. The downside is with the way that, EnVyUS are playing with Happy, kind of playing a flex roll, there's no need to get that early control. They feel confident enough to beat them in the aim battles, and they feel confident in MBK and Happy to hold on to that B side if they do finally execute. But looking back on the rounds, how many rounds have they gone B? Well, once, and that round they did go B, they won. So maybe we need to see Flipside get a little bit more control towards the area. They finally have the guns yet again. Davkost back on the op, and I want to point this out one more time. He's a CT-sided opper, but I think they've changed things up. I think they're leaving him full-time opping now as World you can see, giving him the op.
Okay, that's an intriguing change, because World has been damn near impressive with the AWP in previous turns of this game, but not going to be happening this time. Again, hitting that slow pace. We talked about Molotovs before, just 2 for Blade and Bondic, whereas the entire EnVyUS roster has Flame in a Bottle acquired, and intrigued to see if Flipside can kind of break through this wall. And it is a wall. They are holding exactly the same spots. Apex towards Graveyard, Keo on balcony, Kenny holding CT Arch, and he actually could have hit that shot down to 44 though, and he's going to be backing away.
He got tagged through the wall by the T-side wall of Davkost, so he didn't even see them there, and he got completely completely knocked down to 44 HP. Keo finally is going to go down with a bomb. It's making his way towards B. They forced Happy to rotate over, and this might be what they need. But NBK doesn't have an MP7 this time. He has the AK, he has a Molotov, smoke, and a flash, and he can hold them back. Blade's doing a fantastic job with Bonnet to distract.
Yeah, this is very nice from Blade and Bonnet, just keeping 3 members of Envy busy. But I think NBK may realize what's going on. Finds the head of Markov, finds the head of World Edit. This is beautiful. One man just demonstrating how he can keep that site safe. And now Davkos is staring at Dark. He realizes that this is all going to come down to him and his compadres over on towards A. Bondic did find the frag, but NBK just can't stop fragging. That's 4. This very well could be the easy defuse it is. And Bondic desperate to find a 3rd, maybe even a 4th, but it's not going to happen. And another easy round for EnVyUS. NBK, he's been quiet. The Sentinel on B. He gets tested and he puts them in their place.
Who would have thought he can get 4 kills if he doesn't have an MP7 in back of sight? I mean, that's exactly what should have happened earlier in the round, the only round that Flipside's been able to pick up if he didn't have, the MP7. But great job by him. He read the rotate really well, played that one very safe. And again, the flame in the bottle, the Molotov he pointed out, well, where was it to push him out of that spot? Where was it to force him into an easy angle? They left Bonnet to go for the flank towards CT spawn, and you get 1 kill, yes, but when the bomb's down and they can't hold the site, well, you're not really going to net much off of that.
This is going to be the first test for Kenny v Davkos, and it's going to end with 0, as he did cast his eyes towards Underpass. Nothing going to find though just yet. Actually, Davkos is on the hunt. No one's actually been holding quad. No one's held that angle from Envy at all. Keo is quite happy on balcony holding that. Does get flashed up, and that's going to give them a little bit of breathing room. As again, this 3-2 split.
And the thing is, they had a good read on EnVyUS in his position before, but that was before he had the op. Now he's feeling a little bit more confident. He's playing a little bit more aggressive, and Flipside are finally getting a little bit more control of middle. Problem is now Happy, he's in CT spawn again, so he can prevent them from rotating through. EnVyUS is already waiting. The Molotov is going to keep them back for an extended period of time. And Kyushin was already able to open up as the push comes in towards short.
This is insane. There is just a big wall that they cannot break through. Davkos is the first to knock a brick out, though. It's Apex. Blade is there as well, as this wall very well might start crumbling, but Kenny builds it back up again as he takes down Davkos. Blade and World Edit desperate to find a way in. The bomb is accessible, and that's something, but still, the rotate from NBK did start coming in, but I think he realizes his teammates have got this down. Kenny is going to be trying to do his best, but I think Keo's doing the work for him at this point. One more man to find. Blade desperate to try and find a way, and he gets Kenny low, but not low enough. As another one comes in. Don't know how that happened, but Kenny keeps holding that site safe. 2 for him, and that's 9-1. Jason, we said Flipside were the underdogs. We said they would have to start well, that EnVyUS would have to look weak, but right now, this Inferno is one team and one team only.
I think they need a timeout. I think Flipside need to take a timeout here, talk things over, because they need rounds on this T side. EnVyUS, even dating back to the very games day, Titan, LDLC, all that, very games, they've always been a phenomenal Inferno team, especially on that T side. They need to just take a timeout, figure out what's going wrong. I mean, they're saving up this round, looking for a quick push towards B, so maybe trying to catch him off guard, but Happy's pushed up towards car. NBK flashed him in as well. Happy's going to mow them down.
This is going to be murder. Happy's taken 2, make it 3. Finally, Bondic does respond with the Deagle, but all the damage is done. Fantastic pop flash and a little bit of synergy there from the French side, and now Bondic and Markelov are sitting there wondering where it all went wrong. They did manage to get the M4, but I feel like that's going to be taken out of their hands very soon. Apex struggling with the M4, just going to make up for it with the USP. And I mean, they've taken 2 frags. That's more than they've done previously, as finally it does go down. 10-1 then the score, and this is just flat out inadequate from Flipside.
Well, speaking of inadequate, World Edit's on 0-10. Don't want to call him out. He's 0-0-10. Not assist, not a kill, 10 deaths straight. So the only round he didn't die in was the round that they won. So, kudos for that, but they need people to step up. World Edit's always been that T-side opper. I'm not sure if he's, really too happy with not being able to pick up the op. He's been donating to Davkos multiple times. But even Davkos has been relatively quiet at 6-11. But the danger of EnVyUS and how they've been playing, it's been so damn passive, right? You've called it out. They've been in the same spots almost every single time. You expect them to be passive then. So when you push up an end like that with Foreman, you don't expect Happy to be right behind Car. He's going to mow you down every single time, and it completely catches you off guard. It's usually the terrorists who play the change of pace, but it's EnVyUS changing things up.
It must be horrible, though. When it gets to this point, they have such a cushion of rounds that they can go for those aggressive pushes down Banana. That was 1. Yeah. Right now, they're back to being completely contained on B. And Davkos is just rinse and repeat. Jason, they haven't found a way in yet. They haven't being able to break this kind of stack on A. They haven't been able to deal with NBK on B. I mean, what are they saying right now? What is the call being made? What's Blade kind of thinking? Because surely you're just sitting there thinking there is no way we can win this. It's a best of 1, and already they're 6 rounds away from losing.
I'm sure there's a couple of curse words in there.
I would be surprised,
going through his head. they need to find a way to penetrate this B side. That's like been the only successful side for them. They've gotten 2 plants there. Out of the entirety of this game, they've only gotten 2 plants, and it's both been at B. See a lot of smokes coming in towards the site, but they're not pushing in just yet. They're causing the rest of enemies to rotate through, but with the flash coming through, they're going to charge straight through, and NBK is already waiting.
This is going to be a real test then for NBK. He's done it once, he's done it twice. Not going to happen this time, as davkos puts him to sleep permanently in this round. Happy he's full white. Finally, they catch a glimpse of him. He was standing for far too long, but now Kenny looking to make an impact, and he does just that. It's traded off by davkos, though, as this is the closest Flipside have come in a long time. Apex makes it difficult. Surely not another one. It's going to be difficult for Keo, but he does get it. That was a 1v1. That's the closest Flipside have got, and that's not going to be enough for them. And you can see on Markelov's face a little smile like, that should have been ours. That should have been ours.
The only reason they lost that round is because they lost their smoke towards Garden. They lost their smoke towards CT spawn. They couldn't get the bomb down because of that. Because they took so long to get through, based off the fact that Happy and MBK had some great counter flashes, it delayed them long enough. The smokes dissipated. They couldn't get the bomb down and play the after plant situation. You know, when you have kennyS and the rest of the team rotating through, when you have that set execution, they're going to be there and stop you every single time. So maybe Flipside, maybe just walking into the B site without actually giving anything away can actually be what they need. But look, again, MBK going the flash in for Happy to peek out towards Banana, but he can see there's no one there yet.
Yeah, just yet. I think it's going to be the operative word as Happy does catch a glimpse and straight away backs on through that safety smoke set up by his teammates. So, things have mixed up over on the other side. Apex and Keo are holding hands over towards balcony. They're both going to be playing that pit side, and that's going to be the kind of spanner in the works potentially for Flipside. Every single time they've tried to make a push on towards A, it's either been Keo, Apex, or Kenny who's turned up with the frags. And 58 seconds, they're not going to run that clock down again, surely.
It's certainly going to happen. Like, that's Inferno here in Europe, and I really want to give credit to EnVyUS. Just how patient they've been with their smokes has been fantastic. Like, they've left MBK by himself alone at B without really smoking off the top of Banana every single time, because they know they can really leave it delayed into the round and then throw it right when Flipside try to execute on towards the site. The grouped up towards B yet again. Bonnet going to be going for the flank, the rotate in. But kennyS and Happy are already on the quick rotate. MBK is going to be flashing. 36 seconds on the clock. Again, Flipside leaving this down to the last few seconds.
Let's see what they can do. MBK again from Dark. He's waiting. That's a perfect flash. All 3 players just forced to stop and stare at the wall. Again, Happy's turning up this time, and he's going to be so happy to take 2 down. davkos, okay, finds 2. That's going to be Kenny and Happy sleeping with the fishes. But what can he do in 10 seconds? He's going to spin around. Apex says no. And now Bondic has absolutely no access to the site. He's going to take a consolation frag, but another round for Envy. And every single member of EnVyUS right now is just taking it in turns to slap Flipside to the side and just say, this is our game. Again, though, Wild Edit has yet to pick up a frag. We're 14 rounds in now to their debut here at the major, ESL One Cologne. And so far, yet to really have any impact whatsoever. A player, especially online, who's made a whole lot of impact. He was one of those players who was sitting at the top of the scoreboard very, very regularly. And now the double AWP for the first time is making its appearance. Let's see what Happy and Kenny, we talked about this before, if this is going to make any change in their current setup.
Well, there's almost no need at this rate because of how it's been going. I mean, they can do anything they simply want to and still just kind of come out winning the rounds. 12-1. Flipside have not been able to penetrate these sites well. Again, the B is the only site they've really been working out for them. They've gone for it the last 3 rounds in a row, but have still yet to get a plant there in those 3 rounds. And EnVyUS, they are just a stone wall. They are the most fortified wall in CS currently on Inferno.
The thing that's hard to believe is just how little Flipside have been able to do on A. Like, this has not been good for them whatsoever. And I'm really not too sure where they can go from here. I mean, they have trying to mix it up. You see Kenny this time holding that quad angle, backing away back towards his safe haven of library. Do some reading on how to dismantle Flipside. And again, 40 seconds, that clock running down. They do put the bomb back in the hands of Markelov as it looks like they're trying to find a way into this site. 2 Galils and some AKs as they're ready for themselves for the push.
They smoked kennyS off again. So this is exactly what they did before. They're pushing towards CT this time. This is what I wanted to see them before. Go for that 3-2 split towards the B side. But they're going to catch out Kenny completely, opening up this long side. And there we go. Finally, Bondic does respawn. Now it's Apex and Kyoshima to be the 2-man hold.
This is looking a lot better. They've managed to get under the skin of EnVyUS. And now it comes down to Keo. He's been so good on towards balcony. He's moved, though, but he's not going to be able to do too much. Just the one on towards Blade. And now NBK and Happy, those B defenders, are going to have to try and do something. Make it just NBK as Bondic finds another. That's his second. And it looks like he's going to be able to find a third as well. Very comfortable then from Flipside. 4 members still standing at the end of that one. And Wild Edit still didn't make an impact into that round. But 12-2 here on Inferno. This is almost a guarantee now for the French. And I mean, to start so strongly is so important when you come into a major. You need to have momentum, and not necessarily momentum in just a game, momentum in a tournament.
And you have to wonder, you know, when will people peak in a tournament? Are they going to have the opportunity to do it a little bit later on, or do they do it at the beginning and kind of fall a little bit short? We're going to find out, though, as the game does progress. Again, the double up setup. But I want to give credit to Flipside to be really smart about this, because what they did was, it took them a lot of time. They finally realized the way eNVyUS is playing, especially with the flashes that they could use by forcing them back in towards, you know, library. They can smoke them off, get towards CT, and catch them off guard, and that was a fantastic job by them. But the problem is it came too late in the half. 12-2, you're maybe looking at a 12-3 scoreline, and if you lose that pistol on CT side, you're going to have no chance.
Yeah, kind of using up all of their lives as we cast our mind back to IEM. They really have kind of thrown it all away, but still. Just the ult for davkos. He's been kind of struggling to find an entry over on the T side. And this is that last round to do just that. Again, the same setup. This time, Apex moving away from Graveyard. Trying to keep things interesting, to keep things mixed up, but they're completely locked out. Every smoke is perfectly placed from Flipside, but they're actually going towards B. They're mixing it up, trying to keep things interesting, keep things a little bit more surprising, but NBK, he's not one to be regularly caught out. And he's going to be ready and waiting for this push. Already, he seems ready with the molly. It's not going to be perfect towards oranges, but here comes 3. Desperate to find an entry. It's not going to happen this time. This could be the third hit. There's 30 seconds left. Happy trying to flash his way in. Blade ready to catch the rotates, and he's going to do just that nicely. As Flipside seem to have found some footing, but why so late? I don't understand it.
That's because they finally realized how to penetrate the A site to get towards B. They didn't go for the 3-2 split. They went for the one-man split, just kind of go for the little bit of a delay. But here we go. The retake coming in. A few seconds taken away.
Yeah, Kenny Happy onto World Edit, but it's going to surely be a delaying tactic. All onto Happy then. 3 players to find. He's already found 1. Surely this goes Flipside's way. They are hungry for it. Finally, bondik secures it. That's only going to be their 3rd on the half. And davkos, little smile on his face, realizing that that's a little consolation prize at this point. 12-3 then, as we're going to be going into our second half. EnVyUS, if they pick up that pistol, they are going to be very comfortable.
Yeah, and we have to point out, you know, World Edit. He was 0-12. Throughout the entirety of that first half. Last round, he picked up 2 kills. He went 2-13. Again, like, I don't want to point out an individual player like that necessarily, but he's always been really impactful for the team. And a team like Flipside up against, you know, one of the favorites of the entire tournament, EnVyUS, you need everyone to step up, especially in your first game. You don't want to be kind of rotated into maybe a more difficult group or something like that. But bondik 15-13, davkos 10-14. I mean, the first run that they actually got was off the back of him winning out in a 1v1 against MBK, up close and personal with the op versus MP7. Like, that was a fantastic job by him. But just, excuse me, saw Flipside finally adapt. They finally realized how they can take advantage of the pressure towards CT spawn, towards Arch, most importantly, and kind of cut off and leave MBK by himself to pick him off and then get a plant in. It's
true. I mean, you talk about davkos. You have to think about the rounds that Flipside won. If you cast your mind back, one of them was a davkos 4K charging into B, which was also when EnVyUS kind of got a bit cheeky with their keeping their SMGs and shotguns.
Yeah,
another round was bondik getting a 3K charging in towards A and playing that perfectly. And it's basically been a case of just, okay, one man steps up, they win the round. Yeah. At this point, as a team, not so much.
I want to say it's not necessarily like one man, you know, going crazy in the round. It's the way they're finally executing onto the site with their smokes and flashes that allows that man to do that. Like, that should happen almost every single time when you're doing a solid execute. Maybe one man will pick up 2 or 3 kills kind of thing. But there's definitely some individual brilliance coming out of bondik and davkos picking up those kills to allow them to finally get the round. You have to wonder, well, if they didn't do that, would have World Edit been able to maybe pull it off? And at a 0-12 scoreline into the 15th round of a first game of the major, I wouldn't be so confident that he could do it.
Absolutely. I mean, he's going to have a lot to work on coming into the following games of this. Envy looking to secure this pistol. This is going to be a very crucial pistol, though. It's going to come down to if Flipside win this, then we could potentially, I mean, if all of the stars start to align for them, we could have a game. If not, though, the French are going to be walking away with this one. And a very comfortable start to the major, though. Here we go. It's the pistol. Flipside need to win this one. There is absolutely no discussion, no question that this round needs to be theirs. And let's see what the T-side... Oh, my God. What are the T-side doing?
They're going over towards A. I mean, they realize we have a 12-3 scoreline. Why not be a little bit cheeky, a little bit aggressive? davkos, though, pushing it middle, spotting them out. So he now knows there's a couple of people over towards A, so B can be a little bit more light if they want to. But here comes the smoke, and we'll delay for a little bit of time. Apex can be counter-flashed back, so he can't push straight through the smoke, which will buy Flipside a little bit more time. But here we go, the X is coming towards A. bondik, can he hold on?
He can't handle them. Those mid-air Frenchmen are going to be a bit too slippery as Keo and Kenny find them. They did it on CT. Now they're doing it on T on that very same bomb site. Bomb in, and this is looking like curtains for Flipside. World Edit, davkos and Markelov are going to have to find every single head. Well, then it starts off, but MBK and Apex are quick to rebuttal. And it's all onto Markelov. This most definitely has not gone ideally. And Envy stroll onto the side. I say stroll, more like leap as they just kind of emerged out of that.
I was thinking like flying baguettes, like baguettes with wings on them, kind of come into the side. I hope someone out there photoshops that. That'd be great. But yeah, that was just pure confidence out of them. Pushing 3 through, a good execute, having Apex and actually Apex lurk in towards middle, Happy back towards T stairs to catch, and he rotates from Banana. But just well done. I mean, they overran Blade in sight. There was nothing he could do. Like, he was just completely out of position and just could not hit the shots when it came down time to it. But here we go, 13-3. We're on the buy come for EnVyUS. Flip side, they're going for the potential win. Saving up in this round, going to have to fully buy up into the next. And they're going for a big stack towards B. They want to lock down this control. At EnVyUS, they might be walking straight into this trap.
You say it's a trap. Yes, they could catch them up, but also they could just shred them and pick up.
I'm
not sure, Jason. We're just really, really ready to see what the CTs can do. Yes, they have the numbers, but the weaponry and the armor is definitely sitting on the right side of things. Nade just come in. That's going to be a sign of things to come, as here comes Envy. Going to try and have the drop on them, and they do. Well, did it with one. Apex is quick to respond. They are trading out quite nicely, though, and Davkos could find another. Not going to happen as the aim punch makes that final shot difficult. And it's all onto Blade then to try and do something insane, as this most definitely is. Looking like 14. Apex secures it with 3. And that's going to be a whole lot of money in his pocket going into this next one. Snatches the Galil.
You really got to wonder, what if Flipside bought pistol armors that round? We see a lot of teams do it. Not in this position necessarily, but a lot of teams will buy up in the second round because they realize they can't buy third round anyways, and they have a little bit of a shoddy buy into the fourth with FAMASas. But if they pistol armor, they could have had that. And that could have turned the tide for it. But now they're forcing the buy up here. The FAMASas, no head armor, a couple of things of utility to work with, but most importantly, no kit. If they're going to take this round, they have to stop them from getting into sight or go for the immediately quick rotate through.
Yeah, I think utility is going to be the big point to be made there. Of course, lack of head armor isn't going to be too much of a problem with the AKs in play. In fact, you're seeing more and more teams just completely remove head armor from their buy when they realize the economy of the B side.
It's the kit, though. Why not invest into the kit? You got to come down to utility, and look, this Baldi getting caught off guard!
He's going to have trouble, just the one for him. Kiyoshima saying, this is my position. He gives him a lesson. Apex is there as well, and now these 3 members of Flipside make it 2. Need to win this round, otherwise it's 15, otherwise it is GG. And well did it at Markelov. They are going to be trying to rotate in. Yes, there's low health. Apex and Kyo looking pretty worse for wear, but still, Happy holding the right angle. Is going to desperately try and find the head of Markelov. He does, and now World at it. He needs to find this, otherwise this most definitely is the end. We've known it for a while, but World at it just clawing this one back as best he can. 2 low health members, but time is of the essence.
There's no kit.
We talked about it before. He realizes it, and he thinks just maybe he can take another weapon away from them.
There's an AK actually right behind him. Surprised he hasn't picked that up just when he killed Happy. But yeah, there's no chance he's going to pull this off. If Markelov could have won on that 1v1 versus Happy, they very well could have done it. Look at Apex and Kiyoshima. They weren't touched after they got into sight, got the bomb down. 14 and 12 HP respectively. What it forced onto the save, 15-13, and EnVyUS are now 1 round away from getting to the winner's match.
Yeah, and this has been very comfortable for them. You look at NBK at the bottom of the scoreboard, that doesn't kind of demonstrate that. I mean, almost 50% of his frags were from 1 round where he got that 4K holding the B site. Everything else is being done by his teammates, and that's going to be really luxurious for him, as a scoreline like this is terrifying for Flipside. Coming in up against EnVyUS, you want to make a dent. I mean, if you're going to lose this game, which, everything suggests they were, you want to be finishing this maybe even in double digits. You want to have a comfortable feeling around the team. You can't not feel good. Then again, Davkos hitting shots like that. Happy's brain splattered across the cobblestone here on Inferno. And now it looks like we're going to be seeing the same thing again. They really are utilizing apps, and Bondik again going to be caught out. Perfect pop flash, but he's still alive and kicking for now. Getting the ABK, leap on out, and now 3 CTs remain to keep their team in it. This is just very, very clinical from the French, and SCII using all of their nades perfectly.
No kit again for Flipside. If they're going to go for this, they have to go extremely fast. Markelov does have the 5-7, but Apex in the perfect position to catch him off.
This is going to be brutal, and it most definitely is. Finds the head of World at it, and now a scout and an AK to keep Flipside afloat. Not looking likely, as Kenny already finds Davkos. This is it, 1 frag away. Markelov, 72 points of health, and a dream to try and keep Flipside in it, but it does most definitely look like EnVyUS have secured their spot in the winner's match. 16-3, they do it beautifully, and it's going to be too easy. Another day in the office for EnVyUS as they start the major with a bang.
Thing is, we wanted to see how teams are perform after all their boot camping, all the practice they've done, and not to mention the road up to the major with EnVyUS, showing their true skill at Intel Extreme Masters Gamescom. But that, like you said, it was too easy. I mean, that's hard to gauge how well EnVyUS are playing. I think one thing we did see, though, is their confidence in to be able to hold certain areas and to crossfire with each other. I mean, KennyS, he played that library side almost every single round until he got the op and pushed up aggressively. Not to mention, we saw them have the shotgun, the MP7 in the buy round for Flipside. So the confidence is definitely something that they're not lacking, but they're going to have a difficult match coming up after that because they have the winner of Luminosity and Kingwin to play against. And of course, that match will be coming up next with Luminosity up against Kingwin.
Yeah, but how much can we take away from EnVyUS's play? You say there that we saw, you know, good signs of things to come, but was that EnVyUS bringing everything? I felt like that was very much
no.
Like, I mean, they quite literally on their CT side did one play. 3-2 split. Maybe Happy pushing up Banana was the only variation, but they quite literally kind of looked at the top line of their playbook and stuck with it.
Thing is, you have to wonder about confidence into this, right? So the team EnVyUS obviously very confident, but keep this in mind. Why would they show anything necessarily when they know they can win already? Win this match. Let's just play a little bit passive, play standard, play 100% standard. Don't be cheeky, don't be crazy. The Happy MBK thing with Happy pushed up towards Car and MBK flashing over is typical of like NIP, so it's not really too difficult to see. But T-side, again, we didn't see anything really innovative out of them because they didn't need to show it. It's like, all right, let's send one person middle, Happy back of middle towards stairs, and rush 3 people out straight towards balcony and have Apex flash and allow them through. Like, that's, if it works, why change it? And they played well. Flip side, the question for them is, how are they going to fare? Because after that first game, that was such a destruction.
I'd say forget about it. Like, that game did not happen. Yeah. You're going into the major now. Just completely clear your mind of that. The first person I'd think about is World Edit, because you're sitting there like, this is it. This is the biggest tournament of my year, of my career potentially for World Edit, and you go 0-12 or something. It
was 0-12 to the last round of the first half on T-side where he picked up 2 kills.
So yeah, that's just, you delete that. That didn't happen, and we'll see where he can go from here. Yep. I mean, he's going to be playing the winner of that next game, which is going to be insane.
The thing is, I mean, we should just maybe transition to the next game already. Luminosity, every team we've talked to has said they've been playing out of their minds, the team to beat come into this. Now, we mentioned before, like in the little pre-show we did, that teams can be phenomenal on boot camp or you're right before an event, but when it comes down to the event, they can just completely mess up. I'm hoping for their sake that they're going to perform well, because I really want to see them, do a great job. They're the legends from last time from Katowice, placing 5th through 8th, losing out to Virtus Pro in such an insane match. It's going to be a great game. Kingwin as well, like the team created for the major. Can they pull it off when the time comes? They have Legia here coaching them behind them, or Legia, sorry, helping them from behind, if you can maybe give them some insights into things. Yeah. It's going to be a good game. It's
going to be a fantastic game. Jason has said everything that needs to be said about the next game we're going to be bringing you on this stream. Talking of this stream, there is, of course, another one going on. That is the A stream, and their game is still unfolding. So head over there, keep this one open, go and see CLG going up against NIP. The score is 12-9. CLG kicking back. So go ahead over there, guys, and we'll see you back for Kingwin Luminosity.